Hello friends, welcome back to Technique, and today we'll be talking about the iQOO 12. So we have the iQOO 12 with us, and we'll be specifically talking about the cameras on the new iQOO 12. So similar to previous versions, the iQOO 12 comes with a really top of the line hardware for a camera setup for a flagship device, and this is having a triple camera setup on the rear panel and also a selfie camera. So let's dive deep into the camera system and see how good the experience is, what all changed, how the camera quality is, daylight shots, macros, portraits, and low light experience along with selfies and also video recording. So how good is the iQOO 12 in terms of camera experience? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So before getting into this video, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's begin. So let's first have a look at the hardware offered. Now we have a triple camera setup. The primary sensor is a 50 megapixel Omnivision sensor, f1.68 aperture, and it is capable of extremely good low light experience. Then secondary camera is yet another 50 megapixel, which is an ultra wide angle camera, and the primary camera also has optical image stabilization. And then the third camera is a periscope camera. It's a 64 megapixel periscope camera with 3x optical zoom and up to 100x digital zoom. So that's one of the highlighting aspect. You can go up to 100x using the telephoto lens, which is again having optical image stabilization. So that's the rear camera hardware. Now you also get a flash here. Now on the front panel, you get a 16 megapixel punch hole selfie camera, again f2.45 aperture. So that's the camera hardware. Now if you look at the camera interface, there are some things which are added to the camera interface. One is the color mode. So you can see that you can actually go with the different color options: vivid color, textured color, and natural color. So in case you want a slightly vivid and vibrant colors for social sharing, you can go with the vivid option. And if you feel iQOO is boosting colors, then you can come back and go to the natural color option, which will give you more realistic color. So that's up to you to decide whether you want the natural or vivid color. That option is also included. Apart from that, you also get a plethora of other options like a super mode, astro mode, time lapse, tilt shift, fisheye option, then pro mode, ultra HD, high resolution options. All these are included in the camera UI. So that's the camera UI of the iQOO 12. So you also get really good options included. Along with that, you also get video recording in up to 8K support. So let's now go straight into the camera samples to see how good the experience is. So let's first have a look at the daylight captures. Now we have tried the daylight captures with both the vivid mode as well as the natural mode. There is a slight color difference, but not by a huge margin. That's what we noticed. The dynamic range is pretty good. There is good amount of details on offer. The sharpness levels are also very good. This is evident probably when you zoom in, you can clearly see that there is good amount of details as well. The colors are kept more or less kind of natural. Unlike previous iQOO versions, this has pretty much natural colors, and we don't have much to complain here. There is good amount of details and color reproduction offered. Along with that, there is good amount of HDR as well. So overall, we are pretty happy with how iQOO has tuned the 50 megapixel rear camera. Now moving on to the ultra wide angle camera. Obviously here you can see that the 50 megapixel once again does a pretty good job here. There is good amount of details, dynamic range is good, and sharpness levels are also acceptable. So once again, the 50 megapixel camera, this ultra wide angle camera, is really usable. Now moving on to the 3x telephoto lens, the 64 megapixel shooter does a pretty good job with the details and highlights, and the sharpness levels are also very good. Now you can also go to 100x zoom on this camera. That's one of the highlights of this camera, and you can see that I have just used the 100x zoom, and you can see how good the experience is. So this is definitely one of the highlights of this camera. So 100x zoom, you can enable it from the settings. Now next, moving on to the close-up images. This is where we feel there is a slight boostage of colors. Probably here you can actually go to the natural color mode, but again, most of the people do like punchy and vivid colors, and there is nothing much to complain. But probably if you don't like the slightly boosted colors, you can go with the natural color mode. Now apart from that, there is also tele macro or super macro option, which uses the telephoto lens to get macros. These are really superb macros available on any smartphone. So if you're particularly interested in macro photography, this is definitely a great option. Let's move on to the portraits. Now you can take portraits in two ways. One is the primary camera, the 50 megapixel. This is the 50 megapixel primary camera at 1x zoom, and then you can also opt for the 3x telephoto portraits using the 64 megapixel camera. Both the cameras produces excellent portraits, great edge detection, the skin tones are rendered really well, the t-shirt color is also once again rich and very much accurate, the background blur or the bokeh effect also is really good. Even the low light portraits also turned out to be pretty good. The edge detection is excellent on these portraits. So overall we are really happy with how iQOO has done with the portraits on this device, both the 1x as well as the 3x. Let's move on to the low light captures. Now in outdoor condition, when there is lower light, you can see that there is good amount of details. When light drops further, you need to better to shift to the night mode, and here you can see that there is good amount of details, great sharpness levels too, but there is a hint of noise when you zoom in. That is pretty much evident when you zoom in. And if you look at the overall quality of the shots, they are pretty good in the night mode, and there is definitely great amount of details and sharpness levels too. The dynamic range is also pretty well done, and the shadows are resolved pretty well. So that's the primary camera in low light. Now moving on to the telephoto lens. Once again you can see that there is good amount of details, but it occasionally does have this softening effect. So as a result, the sharpness levels are not so great in the night mode with the telephoto lens, but quite usable and acceptable, I would say. Now moving on to the ultra wide angle camera. This also has pretty decent looking ultra wide shots in the night mode, and there is also details on offer. Now moving on to the selfie camera. The 16 megapixel shooter does a quite good job overall. The skin tones are done well, the dynamic range is good, the color accuracy is also good, the sharpness levels are also acceptable. Overall selfies are more of a personal choice. I personally like the selfies on the iQOO 12 because there is good amount of dynamic range, and the edge detection in portrait selfies also turned out to be pretty good. So overall selfies experience, again while it's a personal choice, I like the selfie experience on the iQOO 12. So what do you guys think about it? Do let us know in the comment section. Now moving on to the video recording. This phone can record videos up to 8K 30 FPS, but generally most people will stick to 4K 60 FPS. This is the 4K 60 FPS footage, and there is good amount of stabilization on offer. You can see here while panning also it's pretty good and stable footage. The colors are done well, and there is also good amount of dynamic range offered. Now you can also shoot in 4K 30 FPS. The detailing and the colors are once again pretty good and stable, and it looks much more natural than previous versions. You can also shoot in a 1080p 60 FPS, and once again colors are done really well, and overall quality of the video is definitely acceptable for a phone in this price segment. Now you can also do 1080p at 30 FPS using the camera. So all the cameras, or rather all the lenses, can shoot in 4K resolution. That's something which is pretty good. Now this is the ultra wide angle camera. This is shot at 4K 60 FPS, so ultra wide can also do 4K 60 FPS using the iQOO 12. So that's definitely one of the advantages of this camera system, because all the cameras can do 4K 60 FPS. Now this is the 3x telephoto lens with a shot at 4K 60 FPS. Here also you can see there is good amount of details, dynamic range is good. It is pretty stable even with a 3x zoom, and there is optical image stabilization on offer. So this is the front facing camera sample taken with the iQOO 12. So this can record videos only in 1080p resolution, so there is no 4K support, which is kind of a missing feature for a flagship device. So you can judge yourself how good the quality of the video is, and also the audio output. So that was a camera review of the iQOO 12. So summing up, how good is the camera on the iQOO 12? We're pretty much happy with what iQOO is offering in terms of camera department. Now probably this should be priced below the 60,000 rupees. That's my guess while doing this video. If that is the pricing, this is definitely a good camera setup. You won't be definitely disappointed with this camera, because it has pretty good daylight captures. There is good amount of detail, sharpness levels are acceptable, and colors are once again pretty good. You can go with the natural mode or the vivid mode, whichever you want, based on how you want the color preferences to be. So that's definitely a good option to have, especially if you want to social sharing. Vivid colors would be much better, but if you want natural looking, you can go with the natural option. So iQOO is offering plenty of options, and you can go up to 8K video recording as well. Now the portraits are something which we really liked, excellent portraits. Even the macro photography was simply superb using the telephoto lens. Most of the phones, even iPhones, use ultra wide angle camera. Here you get that natural depth of field for the macros, something which we really liked on the iQOO 12. Now one thing which we feel could be slightly improved is the low light experience, especially the noise. You can actually see the noise in the low light captures, but again, this is probably, I would say, it's not a major issue, especially the 3x telephoto lens. The night mode was not very good, especially you could see that there is a bit of softening effect, and apart from that, the ultra wide angle camera night shots are also quite acceptable. So overall, if you look at the photography aspect of the iQOO 12, it's a really solid offering at this price segment. Hardly anything to complain here. It's a good experience overall. Now coming to the video recording, the rear camera video recording is really good and is stable. Even the 3x telephoto lens also did optical image stabilization. So all the lenses can do 4K 60 fps. That's something which is pretty good. But one thing what we still feel iQOO could have implemented is the 4K 60 fps or at least 4K 30 fps video for the selfie camera, which is definitely missing, and selfie camera can record videos only in 1080p at 30 fps. That's something which is disappointing, at least from the camera's perspective. In this price segment, there should have been 4K or 4K 60 fps or 4K 30 fps instead of the 1080p resolution. So that was my experience with the iQOO 12 in terms of camera, and I personally like the cameras on the iQOO 12, so hardly anything to complain. So what do you guys think about the cameras on the iQOO 12? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Nirmal signing off with the camera review of the iQOO 12. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.